Hello, hello, crafty friends. My name is Stacy, Crafty Diva USA, and I am super excited to be here with you today for my second project in our Handmade Holiday Hop, where 10 very talented Stampin' Up! Demonstrators teamed up to bring you projects throughout the entire month of October. So, what I have for you is my second project, and like I said in my first project, which if you didn't catch, this was the first project I created, which you can go back in the Hop and find. And by the way, I hope you're enjoying all these videos from all these ladies. So many talented projects. But if you want to check out my first video, I made a triple gift card holder. So I love giving gift cards, but I'm all about putting them into cute, fancy little gifties over the holidays. So again, along the same lines, I have today a money holder. So we have actually 3 projects in one. So we are going to make this fun box. Okay, just a simple box that I'm going to show you how to make that you can use this for any project. Of course, I'm using the Festive Friends again, my most favorite stamp set, I would say, this season. And if you go check out my channel, you're going to find lots of inspiration using Festive Friends. So anyway, we're making this box right here. Also, we have just a simple envelope that we're going to make, because inside the envelope we have a fun money-sized holder. So you can also use this for a gift card holder, but I have a $5 bill in here, so you can see it's a perfect money-sized. It's not exactly a slimline card, maybe a small slimline. I also used here, if you see, I also brought in those great Party Alphabet dies. These are about a little over 2 inches, but they are a great, great die set. If you didn't pick this up, the entire bundle, which also comes with banners, is great. But anyway, I used that to create my joy sentiment. And I'm just going to show you, this is super simple. I cut out real red, a set in real red, and then a set in Secret C, and all I did was layer them together, and you just poke one out. That's all you do, nothing crazy fancy. If y'all know me, it's just super easy, duplicatable, replicatable crafting. So we're going to make this card, this money card, this box, this envelope, and you can create all of the projects or whichever you'd like. So again, if you check out the description of this video, I also have a tutorial that you can print out. It goes through the cutting directions. There'll be a link back to this video, and then just some basic assembly instructions. So let's get to it. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in all my pieces, and we're first going to assemble the envelope. I feel like the envelope might be the easiest thing. So I'm sorry. We're going to create the card. That's what I'm doing first, the card. That's what I have first. Actually, the envelope is probably the easiest, but I'm going with the moderate one first. We're going to go with the moderate. All right, so this is 7 by 8.5 inches. And what we're going to do is on that 8.5-inch side, which is going to be this side right here, we need to make a few score lines. So we are going to score at 2 and 5 1/4. So I'm going to remember that our trimmer blade has 2 colors here. So the darker is your cutting blade and the lighter is your scoring. So that's what's great about our trimmer, is that, it's one tool to do everything. So I'm chatting, but let me make sure. So I'm at the 2-inch mark. We need to score at 2 inches and then at 5 1/4. Okay, that's all we need to do for our card. And then we are just going to fold both sides in. Very simple, simple card. I have my furnishing tool here. All right, so now I'll give you these. Again, everything is in your tutorial, but I will go over them. So I'm using the Traditions of Christmas DSP. This paper is absolutely gorgeous. And let's see, this one is 5¼ by 3. And then I cut another one out at 1½ by 3. Then I have a glitter strip here. This is cut at 1/2 by 3. I have another piece of DSP from that pack, just a coordinating piece. And this is cut at, am I wrong? Hold on. I'm sorry. This one is 1¾ by 6¾ This one is 5¼ by 3. And then this little guy is the 1½ by 3. 1½ by 3. Okay. So that's what you need for that. And then you're going to need a piece of white, and this is cut at 3 by 6¾ Okay. So what we're going to do is I am going to use my 1/8 of an inch tearing tape. I use this a lot. I get this on Amazon. Stampin' Up does not sell the 1/8 inch. That's what I like to use. So on each corner of that smaller flap, you're going to put a piece of tearing tape. Okay, we need to make that pocket for the money holder or your gift card. Anything will fit in here perfectly. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm a little too close. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that. So we are just going to peel these two pieces, these backings off. All right, and then we're just going to fold this up to make our pocket. Okay, let me take mine out so I can show you the bill here. So all we did was make our pocket. So again, that's perfect for certificates, for gift cards, or for money. All right, so now the only stamping that we have in this entire project is this piece right here where we're going to stamp Merry Christmas. You can opt out of that and just put maybe something very smaller or simple and use that just to write. But we're going to use, so from the traditional labels, 165854, I love the size and font of that Merry Christmas. So that's what we're using. I'm going to stamp that using my Real Red, just right in the center. I'm not one to write a lot in cards. I just like to sign my name, so I know it's horrible. So a nice font sentiment works for me. And I absolutely love the font. Okay, so like I said, only stamping. So we're just going to adhere this to the inside of our card. You know, let me be honest, I'm talking about the seal. I absolutely fell in love these last few weeks, to be honest, with this Stampin' Up seal, Stampin' Seal. I was using my other favorite, and I have a lot of these, right? And it was hard for me to maneuver, but I learned swipe, pull to the side, swipe, pull to the side. And you don't need a lot of this stuff. It's great. So I really did find a newfound love for Stampin' Seal. All right, stop talking, Stacy. All right, so we're moving on. I'm going to use this piece of DSP right there. So I'm putting this project together in stages. We're doing the envelope, we're doing the card, then we're going to do the box, then we're going to do the envelope in whatever order we do it, don't matter. But then we're just going to go back and decorate. So the cutting directions or the tutorial have all the basic supplies to create the card, the envelope, the box, and then you will incorporate whatever additional cardstock you may need to decorate with whatever you decide to do. Okay, so for decorating the front of our card, this piece of DSP is going to go right there. These two are going to, that one's going to go over to the side, and then we're going to use this great glitter strip. I love glitter just to cover up that little seal right there. So that's what we're going to do there. How beautiful is that paper, right? Again, swipe to the side, little swipe to the side, swipe to the side. And when you do that, it's very therapeutic, I must say. Okay, so just leaving about 1/4 of an inch there. Okay, now this, because you're going to cover that up, if you want to hug closer to the side there, you can do that. If you want to have more of a thick space, you can do that. But I'm going to move it as far as I can to make it look like I have just about 1/8 of an inch showing. So that's what I'm going to do. You do you. It's just what I'm going to do. How I do this too, sometimes I like to butt it up against and then just kind of slightly move out. There. Okay, next I'm going to do my glitter strip. So that is just going to cover up and seal that off very nicely. So very simple money card. That will decorate everything at the end. We'll come back to decorating. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to move on to, what are we moving on to next, Stacy? We are moving on to the box. Okay, so this is the box. Let me zoom out a little bit. So in your tutorial, do not fret. I put a picture of, let me go up close. You have your top and bottom box. Don't mind my scribble scrabble. And you have your envelope. Okay. So you have an image of this in your diagram. So do not worry, but I'll hold it up right here if you want a screenshot. So this is the top. This is my template. Okay. The top and the bottom. So the top is 5 5/8 by 9 5/8, and your bottom is 5 1/2 by 9 1/2. Obviously, your bottom has to be a little smaller so the top goes over it. And then all you need to do is score each of these, the top and the bottom piece, 1 inch, all sides. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so moving on to the box. Let me just get my directions in case I need to refer to anything. All right, so again, I'm using real red, and I have my top and my bottom labeled accordingly so I do not mess up. I'm going to bring in my trimming blade again. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, 1 inch on all sides. So we're going to start at one corner, we're going to flip it, do 1 inch here, flip it all the way around. That's what I mean. So we're going to start here. Okay, I'm just at the 1 inch. Going to score. I'm going to turn my paper. 1 inch. Score. Turn again. Inch. And on the final side, 1 inch. Okay, that is our, let me put this back here. That's our top. Now I'm going to bring in my bottom, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. 1 inch all the way around. Again, make sure you're using the lighter blade. That is your scoring blade. The darker blade is your cutting blade. All 4 sides, 1 inch. This is a simple box. You put a little grass in here, or you put a little tissue paper, and it's a little gifty. It's awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now you have your top and your bottom piece. Okay, so we are going to fold all sides in. And if you need or want very crisp lines, you know, Stampin' Up's paper is very thick. So just be careful when you do this, because if you press down too hard, you can actually cut it. So, and I'm a freak about that. All right. So this is my bottom and then my top. So I scored into my paper. So I'm going to flip it over and fold inward that way. That's how I do it. You know, everybody, there's no right way of the way you fold inward, outward, doesn't matter. I'm just showing you what I do. Okay, so this is my top, this is my bottom. So what we need to do now is you're going to miter cut. Now, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and I believe I am. And what a miter cut is you're going to come into all four corners. Okay, so hopefully you can see that score line right there. So you're going to cut up to meet that top score line right there. See what I did? And then on this flap, you're going to angle a little bit inward. So you make a corner cut, whatever you want to call it. I believe the correct crafting terminology is a miter cut. So that's what you want to do on all four of each of those. Okay. So I'll do it again. You're just going to cut up on the score line, one meet the other. On the flap, cut on an angle. Okay, same deal, all four sides. This just makes it easy to fold your box and to adhere the sides together. Okay, so that's what you're left with. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on my top as well. Again, the top is just a little bit bigger so that it perfectly folds over the bottom. I hope you enjoyed this series. So the ladies are chatting of doing this again, perhaps. So that's exciting. This was my hop that I've ever been a part of. Thought it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like my video and you do enjoy the tutorial, I'd appreciate if you gave my video a like or shared it with your friends. All of the women, very talented demonstrators. Make sure to follow everyone's channel. And you can find everything, the hop playlist and everyone's channel in the description. Okay, so that's what we needed to do to our top and bottom. So next what we're going to do is, on our flaps, this is where your adhesive is going to go. So the way I do that is I like to use, again, tear and tape. I just love tear and tape. I use a little piece of it on each of the sides. So that is what I do. I just find tear and tape very easy to work with, and it's very strong. So for boxes and things like this, for gift cards, for pull cards, I really love to have a lot of different sizes of tear and tape, which I do have in my stash. Okay, so that's that. Let's get it on here. Again, it's when you put the flap inward, that's where you want to make sure you have your adhesive. One more little piece. Then we'll put our box together. All right, so now all you want to do is pull your tabs off, your backing off. Okay, and I'll show you how you put this together and line it up. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to hold your side, and each corner is going to meet the other, and then you're just going to press them together. Okay, do it just like this. So you have your one corner there. You're just going to have your other corner perfectly meet up. Same thing here. Okay, so this is my bottom of the box finished. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing for the top. Okay, line them up, each corner. Okay, so here is our top of the box. Okay, so now the top will go right over the bottom perfectly. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to decorate our top. So let me just give you, again, we're just going to put our pieces of cardstock, the basic supplies, and then you're going to go back and you can decorate however you want. So let me give you those. So, so the white mat is 7.5 by 3.5. That's going to go first. Then I'm using Secret C, and this is cut at 7.25 by 3.25. And then I have the DSP, which is 7 by 3. So I'm just going to layer those three together and then set my box to the side, and we will move on to the envelope. And then once we are finished with the envelope, I'll show you all the little die cuts that I created with the Festive Friends set. That is my absolute favorite. Did I tell you that already? It's my absolute favorite this holiday season. I'm using it in a lot of cards that I'm making. Okay. And I do love this beautiful traditional Christmas paper, Traditions of Christmas, but I especially love this. All of it. Actually, I have to say, I really thought, close to my heart. I was very, particular to close to my heart. And, because I loved our pattern paper, but I don't know, Stampin' Up has some beautiful DSP. Okay. Okay, I'm on the top. Okay, so we have our box, top and bottom, fully made. We have our money holder, gift holder, certificate holder. That's made. Now we have to move on to our envelope. Okay, again, you have this in your tutorial. So I'm using Secret C. So my paper is cut at 8 inches by 9.5 inches. So we need to do a few score lines. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer again. I'm going to clean my desk because it looks a mess. Okay, so we are scoring on the 8-inch side. Okay, so be sure you're on your 8-inch side, and we are going to score at 3 and 6.5. So on the 8-inch side, we're scoring at 3 and 6.5. So I'm going to open up. Where's my 6.5 on here? There it is, 6.5. Okay, so that's where I'm cutting here. Now on the 9.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1.5 and 8 3/4. 8 3/4. Okay, that's it. So now I'm going to bring this back in. Again, let me zoom out. So I scored into my paper. Okay, so there is, you can see the score lines. I scored into it. So when I fold, I flip it over, and then I would fold inward. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to fold in on all of our lines, score lines that we just made. Okay, so now here's my template. I'm going to fold this up so it's easier to see against the Secret C. Now remember on the top and bottom of the box we mitered cut? Well, we're not going to do that. All we're going to do is get rid of all of these areas. We're just going to cut them off so that we're left with, just like my template here, just the pieces so we can fold our box, our envelope. That's all this is. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in with my snip and I'm going to cut off this. Just go from each score line to the other. Same thing here. Okay. All right, so now we are looking like my template here. Again, I'm going to come in with some tear and tape. Now you can use 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, whatever you want to use here. But what you're going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and I have my, I'm in my left, I have the smaller flap, and in my right hand, I have that larger flap. So the way this is going to fold is the larger flap is going to go inward, and then the small is going to seal on top. And then this bottom little flap is going to fold upward. And you might need to play around, sometimes honestly, like see right here, I left my score, like that little notch of the score, that gets in the way. So you just want to like really make sure you trim all that off because it could just interfere with folding. Just burnish, take a little smidge off, whatever you got to do. I just took a little bit. I was able to see, I could see exactly where I left too much on. So I just took a little smidge off. So again, the big flap, little flap, and then you fold your small flap over. And then this, you definitely do want to burnish there. And then here's your top piece. You'll just put a piece of adhesive on here, but you obviously don't close that because that would be when you're ready, if you're going to mail it. So there is our envelope. So I'm going to use my little bit of thicker. Do I have any thicker? I do. I have a little bit thicker tear and tape here. This is about 1/4 of an inch. This is what I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to put a piece along the small flap. Okay, just like that. Then I am going to put, where's my scrap so I can put the stamps? Okay. Then we are going to put a piece along this flap here and one up there for you to be able to seal it when you want to send it. There, and just maybe a little piece there. That's just to seal it. Okay. So we are going to pull that backing off, close this, flap that side over. All right, so there's our envelope. Okay, so we have our envelope, we have our card, and we have our box. So let me just clean up a tiny bit here, and I'm going to bring in all the little dies that I already had created for the sake of time, just because this set, Festive Friends, is so stinking adorable. So there's nothing to put together on the envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that in my box, but I do want to show you that it absolutely fits perfectly in here. Nothing gets ruined. Okay, so you can just send this like this or give this as a gift like this. Put it in the box for a little extra special, put a little tissue paper or grass in there. It's just something, just a little additional fun gift giving. All right, so I am going to, let's make our card. So I'm going to bring in these pieces here. I already have it already laid out, and here's my finished card. So all I did here was I cut out one of the trees. Now, take notice, see that inner piece there? That comes out when you die cut it. So I just put a little piece of adhesive, like I put a stripe of adhesive and a little piece of white paper just to hold that in there because I wanted that. Now in other cards I've made, I cut that piece out in espresso. So it was like a tree trunk, the brown. So kind of cool that you can do that. But for this project, I left them the same color. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start assembling my card. So this is my first piece to go down. So I'm going to put this tree right there. Then I have another one of the trees from that set. I love how it makes all those cuts in the tree. Just laying that right there. Okay. We're going to put our Santa on the inside here. So I just left about the top portion of his, let me see probably from his hat down, I put some adhesive. I left that area alone because his hat does pop out a little bit into the card, but that's fine. Okay, Santa inside, really cute. Oh, and I also used, you can see here, I used my shimmer brush, my Wink of Stella, and I used a variety of, on all of these little elements, I used a variety of my Stampin' Blends. I used, let's see, I used light basic black, I used light cherry cobbler, poppy parade, dark cherry cobbler, dark old olive, pumpkin pie, and dark daffodil delight. So those were all the Stampin' Blends that I used to create this. Because I did here, you'll see more colors I used on the elf and on the snowman. Okay, so that's the outside, the inside of the card. All right, so now I have my joy. I already went ahead and did the J and the O, but just to show you, because it's again so super simple how you do this. So all I did was you just take two different colors. Okay, so there they are. If I wanted to adhere them on top of one another. So just to layer them, that's it. Just move it a tiny, tiny smidge. That's all. So how I did it was I put adhesive on the back of my top layer. I'm not following my own swipe and pull. Okay. And I line them up together. Where I put them. I have to do this laying down, sorry. Now I can't do it. I have to do it laying down with my paper down. There we go. It's hard doing it, holding it up. So that's all you do is you just lay them together and you just have a little bit poke out of the other. So I did that. I had my joy, the O centered in the middle. I had the J and the Y a little bit off centered just to make sure my Y wasn't hanging off just like that. And then I will adhere the O first and then build the J and the Y around it so that everything properly fits. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't, but you can absolutely add some sparkles. I don't know why I didn't, but next I'm just going to take this little snowflake. Again, I cut this out of Real Red, and that's from that same set. Be delicate if you're putting, I'm actually going to use green glue on this because I almost ruined the other one using adhesive. So I'm just going to put a little bit of okay. And I just put this right on the Y. Just like that. Cute. Okay, so that is our card. And now we are going to do the top of our box. So I'm going to bring all my pieces in for my box here that I made. So here is a fun elf. How cute is he? And I did use the Wink of Stella also on the pop. I used Poppy Parade on him. So cute. All right, so we have that. Then I also have the snowman. Okay, can you see? Yeah, there you go. Okay, I have two of our snowflakes. I have some more trees. And then I also brought in here this Happy Christmas. It's hard to see. If I turn it sideways, it's good because it's just so super shiny. So it makes a glare because it's foil, gold foil. I love these chipboards sentiments. So again, this comes from that Greetings for You Mix and Match ephemera set. It's item number 166208. So you get 6 sheets of all of these great chipboard sentiments. So it makes card making so super easy. So I've been really enjoying using these as well. So I wanted to just put a little sentiment on the front. So I'm using that Happy Christmas, it says. Okay, so all I did here was I have those trees again. And I put one on each side. And you can go ahead and, think of so many different stamps and thin cuts that you may have. Think about this for Christmas, for Easter, for any holiday. It doesn't have to be Christmas. I'm just making it. I've used this for many different holidays, this box and card set. And I'll do that at the end. Okay, so then I'm going to put my snowman on a little angle, and I have him on foam tape. Just like that. Now we're going to build the other side. I'm going to take another tree. Right there. These smaller trees. So that's it. This is my final video for the Handmade Holiday Hop. I've had fun. I hope you did too. Again, my projects were for gifting. Here was my other one. If you missed it, this was my week 1 project, a triple gift card holder. Again, can't get enough of this Festive Friends. So I've been using it so much. All right, and I love the elf. This was the first project I made using the elf, so I'm happy about that. We're going to put him there. I'm going to put my Happy Christmas right in the middle. And again, I didn't put any, I don't know why, any gems or anything, but absolutely put some gems. Oh, I think my glue is running out. That's stuck. Oh, it was stuck. Okay. Yeah, I want to definitely put a gem right in the middle of these snowflakes. So I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, awesome. So here are, this was my template that I made to create for you. And then here's the one we just made live together. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll show you everything again. So we have a box that we made with our money holder. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you give this a try and come back, post, let me know if you made this or you gifted it to somebody. I know one year I gave this to my daughter and I put a great big bow. I had a die cut bow and I put that on the front with glitter paper and it was so glamorous. So I hope you give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, go back, watch all the videos of the playlist, give everybody a like, a share, and subscribe to everybody's channel. And most of all, thanks for sticking with me, and happy crafting, everybody, and happy holidays. Take care now.